So before we begin today's class, we'll just do a short review of what we've done so far. So we are in the first chapter, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the sections that are divided between the verses, first to 26 verses, observing the armies, then 28 to 27, Arjun observes the armies, and it is also called the Arjun Vishad Yoga. Then 28 to 46, which the section that we are in right now, Arjun's lamentations and reasons not to fight. So let's do a quick recap and a little quiz. If you know the answer, you can unmute. We did the 4 platforms of worship, if you remember. What were the 4 platforms of worship starting from the lowest one? Anybody remembers?
Out of fear. One is out of fear that
Yes.
if I don't do prayers and anything inauspicious may fall upon me and my family.
Perfect.
That is the lowest of the all.
Yes.
Should I continue or somebody else will say?
You can continue.
Okay. Then there is some desire that they want to have something from Lord, but it is higher than the previous one, because at least he knows whom he has to ask for. So there is some supreme from whom he has to ask. So that is, he wants something from the Lord. And then third is duty, that he feels I have some duties. Like other duties, I have a duty to worship the Lord. And the fourth one is love, which is the ultimate for all of us, because which is out of love, that how we attend on to other duties, our child. There is so much of love. We don't forget those duties and those emotions. So out of love, we serve the Lord, and which is the highest, and every human being should aspire to reach to that emotion.
Perfect. Arjun wants to see who have come to fight wishing to please. This is 1.23. Duryodhana. Okay. Next one. Lord Krishna draws the chariot in the blank of both the armies.
In the center or middle?
In the middle, yeah, or the midst or center.
Yeah.
All right. So Arjuna is Gudakesha, one who conquers
Sleep, ignorance.
Sleep and ignorance. Krishna as Rishikesha, master of senses. Krishna as Achyuta, one who never fails in his blank for his devotees.
Perfection for his
And one who never fails in keeping his promise. Wonderful. Bhakta Vatsal. And Krishna's another name is Rishikesha. Although the master of senses, is controlled by the blank of his devotees.
Love.
Love. Perfect. And we saw this various reciprocations that Krishna has with his devotees. We also touched upon the story of Sati Sakubai, how Krishna came in the form of her husband and then took a form of her just to serve his own devotees and reciprocate with their love. Gudakesha. So the meaning of Gudakesha. Guda means
Sweet.
Sweet or jaggery. And Ka and Isha.
Ka is Brahma and Isha is Shiva.
Perfect. So Gudakesha means Arjun, who gives them the experience of sweetness of Lord's affection, just as sugar or Guda gives experience of sweetness. Lord places the chariot in front of 2 people.
Bhishma and Drona.
Bhishma and Drona. Perfect. And in broad category, if we divide the first chapter, so first to the 25th verse and then 26 to 46, if you can describe, name those.
The first one
Sanyanirikshan.
is Sanyanirikshan and second one is
Arjuna
Arjuna Vidya Yoga.
Perfect. Okay, verse 126, Arjun sees all the relatives assembled on both the sides and he sees all these grades of people. So, Pitamaha is grandfathers. Pitrin is
Ancestors.
Fathers.
10th generation next, and then Putran.
Putran means sons.
Son.
Potran.
Grandson.
Grandson.
Grandson. Just a small quiz to go over what we've done. Arjuna sees the relatives and he becomes overwhelmed with compassion. So from the 27th verse onwards, we have reasons why Arjun doesn't want to fight. And he'll give 5 reasons. In this chapter, we'll see 4 reasons. In the second chapter, the 5th reason will come. So 1.28, Arjun's reactions. 1.29, Arjun exhibits bodily symptoms, and some of them are body trembling, hair standing on end, Gandiva slipping, skin is burning. 138, Arjun his further symptoms, and he sees only causes of misfortune. Arjun thought, even if he wins, how can he enjoy the kingdom without his relatives? And this is the second reason, enjoyment. How will he enjoy if everybody is killed? Arjuna is not ready to fight even in exchange of 3 worlds. In spiritual education, first thing that is taught is eyes are the way to illusion, which is, okay, we'll come to the fill in the blanks. Arjuna will come out of illusion by hearing the wisdom from Bhagavad Gita, which shows the supremacy of blank.
Shabda.
Herein.
Shabda over
Katya.
Pratyaksha.
Pratyaksha.
which can be seen by
Pratyaksha.
the eyes. And the activity we did last time, we contemplated and we remembered some experience where we tried to enjoy something, but it gave us opposite result. Okay, so we'll begin with today's class and we'll see further reasons why Arjun does not want to fight. Start with the 1.36 verse. Arjun's fearful of sinful reactions. So the third reason Arjun gives he does not want to fight is sin, that they will incur sinful reactions. 136. Papameva shayed asman hatvaitan atataina tasmanarha vayam hantum dhartarashran sabandhavan swajanam hi katham hatva sukhinaha shama madhava. Somebody can unmute quickly and read the translation, please.
Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen?
So go to the verse. Papam eva shrayed asman means we will be taking shelter. Ashraya means taking shelter. And generally it is used in a positive connotation. But here he's saying, Arjun is saying, we will be taking ashraya or shelter of papa. And then he says, Hatvaitan atatainam. If we kill these aggressors, atataina, atata means a stretched bow. And atataina means the one who come with a stretched bow. People who have a soldier who has a stretched bow means that he's ready to kill. So atataina, atata is stretched bow, and atataina, person with a stretched bow. So he is ready to kill or to destroy. So atatai, again, a negative connotation. And these are atatais, these are aggressors, these are people who are ready to kill and destroy. And if we kill them, hatvetan atataina, if we kill these aggressors, tasma narha vayam hantum. Therefore, I'm thinking that we should not be killing them. Who? Dhatarashtra Bandhavan, sons of Dhatarashtra, Dhritarashtra, and our relatives, Bandhavan, our relatives. Swajanam hi katham hatva. If we kill our own relatives, Sukhina Shama Madhava, how will we enjoy? What happiness will we get? Oh Madhava. And Madhava is very significant here because the meaning of Madhava is he's the lord of the goddess of fortune. So wherever there is Krishna, there is goddess of fortune. His wife or his consort is there with him or everywhere he goes. So if he is here, present here, where there is going to be fortune, but Arjun says, I'm seeing only misfortune over here. Or, oh Krishna, why are you creating this misfortune for me and for all of us? Oh Madhava. This is the significance of Madhava in this verse. So Prabhupada says in the purport, God is all auspicious. He never desires any inauspiciousness for anybody. Leave apart his own devotees. Krishna's actions may not seem pleasant, but they're always benevolent. Sometimes things happen in our life and we feel that this is not good for me. But if we understand, Krishna says, Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam, I am the well-wishing friend of every living entity. So if he's a best friend, he's my best friend, then nothing in my life happens without his sanction, and nothing in my life happens which is inauspicious. We see it as inauspicious. We see it as not being pleasant. But understanding the point, what Prabhupada is teaching us, that God is all auspicious, then we understand that it may not be pleasant, but it is benevolent, it is good for me. Now, we can take example of a surgeon. A surgeon has a knife and he cuts through the body of a patient to remove something which is maybe cancerous or whatever, which is unwanted in the body. So that is removed. There's blood and there's pain. So it is not pleasant, but it is for the good of the patient. So like that, when Krishna here, Arjuna is feeling this is not pleasant and it is painful, but he's not understanding yet that it is going to be for his supreme benefit. So let's get going. Prabhupada, he talks about 6 kinds of aggressors in the purport. If you look at the purport, there's 6 kinds of aggressors mentioned in our Vedic scriptures. First one is poison giver, one who sets fire to the house, one who attacks with deadly weapons, one who plunders riches, meaning thieves, who take riches or wealth of other people, one who occupies another's land, and one who kidnaps another's wife. So these people, 6 kind of people, can be punished, and if we punish them, then there is no simple reaction. So here, if we see all these 6 things Kauravas did as aggression against the Pandavas, right? They tried to, Duryodhan tried to poison. He set fire on Varnavrat, if you remember the pastime where they were living. They were sent there and the house was set on fire. Then they attacked with deadly weapons. In Virat Yudh, before this war began, Mahabharat war, there was another war, Virat, and they wanted to destroy and kill because they understood that Pandavas are hiding there. One who occupies another's land. So this is all because of Hastinapur and the kingdom. They wanted to usurp it and keep it for themselves, Kauravas. And one who kidnaps another's wife, and which is equivalent, right? If you remember what they did with Draupadi, it was equivalent to kidnapping and exploiting her. Going. There is, if we talk about dilemma, What is dilemma? Somebody can unmute if you know the answer. What do you mean by dilemma?
Confusion.
Confusion, yes. And uh, basically, there are two kinds of solutions, and or maybe more, and we cannot tell or we cannot decide which course of action to take. Whether should I choose this or should I choose this? So that's a dilemma. Here, there are various kinds of dilemmas. There is ethical dilemma also, where there are two kinds of solutions, and they both seem like they're not okay to be done, or they're okay to be done. And which one to choose is very, very difficult. So for Arjuna, the ethical dilemma is first is Kshatriya Dharma. His Kshatriya Dharma told him to fight. As a Kshatriya, as a warrior, his duty is to fight against the aggressors, to take a stand in the society, to make sure that the society is well maintained and there is no adharma. That is the Kshatriya Dharma, and he knows that has to be done. But there is another Dharma for him, which is Kula Dharma. As a descendant of the Kuru dynasty, he is expected to show reciprocation in love with his dear ones, with his relatives, with his seniors, everybody in his dynasty. But here he's standing in this war front just against his relatives only. And they're ready to fight him, and he's ready to fight them, to kill each other. So now he is in a dilemma whether I should do my Kshatriya Dharma and be a part of this warfare and kill them, or whether should I show my Kul Dharma and be loving towards them and not hurt them. So he is not able to decide here. And why has this dilemma come up? He was ready to fight in the beginning. It is said in a verse, it comes that he picked up his Gandiva bow and he's ready to fight. And then suddenly he says, Krishna, can you bring my chariot in the middle of the battlefield? I want to see who all have come to fight. So although he was ready to fight, but because of Pratyaksha, if you remember, because of Pratyaksha, he sees through his senses, and then Anuman, he infers, he comes to a conclusion that this is not good for me. So for us also, we look around when we face difficult situations, we look around from our own perception. We come to a decision or we infer that this is not good. I am in such a bewildering situation. I don't know how to come out of it. It is all because of this one word, attachments. So because of attachments, Arjuna is now in this dilemma. And he does not know how to come out of it. This is you can see in the picture what his predicament is now. Prabhupada says, although a responsible man in the administration of a state is required to be saintly, he should not be cowardly. For example, Lord Ram was so saintly that people were anxious to live in his kingdom, Ram Rajya, but Lord Ram never showed any cowardice. Ravana was an aggressor against Rama because he kidnapped Rama's wife, Sita, but Lord Ram gave him sufficient lessons unparalleled in history of the world and finally killed him. 137 to 38, Arjun continues fearing about sinful reactions by destroying his own family. Let's recite the verse. 37 and 38 come together. Yadi apete na pashyanti lobha pahata chetasaha kulashaya kritam dosham mitra dohe chapatakam tatham nagneyam asmabhi papad asman nivartitum kulashaya kritam dosham prapashyad bher janardana. Somebody can read the translation, please.
Arjun said, O Janardhan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these kind acts of sin?
So yadi apete na pashyanti, even if they are not able to see, pashyanti is to see, even if they are not able to see. And why? Because they are blinded. Blinded by what? By greed. Because their consciousness is abducted by greed. Lobho pahata chetasa. Their cheta, their consciousness is apahata. It is abducted by what? By lobha, by greed. Kulashaya kritam dosham. The fault of killing one's own relatives, kulashaya and kritam dosham, they don't see the fault of killing their own relatives because they're blinded by greed. Mitra dohe chapatakam, these have all resulted from what? Mitra dohe, like a quarrel between, mitra is friends, quarrel between friends. Duryodhan from the beginning was very, very envious of the Pandavas, and he wanted the kingdom for himself because it wasn't from the beginning that these children were together. Pandavas, they were in the forest, and when Pandu left his body, the Pandavas with Kunti, the sons of Kunti, and Madri also left her body. So Kunti, with her 5 sons, came to the palace when they were already born. They were they were little children. And then they grew up together, they studied together in Gurukul. But before they came, Duryodhan was pampered because they had thought that he was going to be the king. They didn't think that Pandavas will come back. So because he was going to be the king, he was pampered, and he became his consciousness was such that he was never pleasant with people. When these opulences come in our life, it could be beauty, it could be fame, it could be wealth, their consciousness becomes corrupted and they are not pleasant to talk to. When you talk to them, it seems like they are pleasant, right? And they're not nice when you talk to them. So that was happening to Duryodhan even when he was a child. This consciousness of being proud and being rude to others, being greedy, all of these were coming there with a part of him in his consciousness. So when the Pandavas came, on the other hand, Yudhishthir, they saw when they came, Pandavas came, their behavior was so nice and pleasant with everyone. They were always so polite. They were so caring and loving. And Yudhishthir was the older one. So after him coming to the palace, now Duryodhan is thinking that he might get the kingdom because he's the older one. He's also the rightful heir. But Duryodhan didn't want to give away the kingdom. Because of his greed for the kingdom, all this envy and enmity arose in him. And from then on, in his mind, he wanted to destroy the Pandavas and keep the kingdom for himself. So Mitra Dohe, this quarrel between Mitras. For Arjuna, they're still relatives, they're still friends. But on the other side, for Duryodhan, they have always been his enemies. Katham nagayam asmabhi. How can we engage in this sinful activity? Papad is sinful. Asma nivartitum. This is papa, this is crime. Because we know, kulashaya kritam dosham. Again, if you see the first 37th verse and then the 38th verse, same line is repeated twice. Kulashaya kritam dosham. Again, it comes kulashaya kritam dosham. It is the only place in the Bhagavad Gita when 2 lines come in consecutive verses. Exactly the same line. So kulashaya kritam dosham. By destroying our own dynasty, our own kula, they don't see the dosha. But we see the dosha, he's saying. So, prapashyabhir janardana. We are able to see, O Krishna, O Janardana. So he's again repeating this name of Krishna, Janardana, again and again. It came earlier also. Why? Because you are the one who maintains everybody. And here I see the destruction of this dynasty and of everyone. O Janardana, why are you making this happen? So Arjuna has acknowledged in the previous verse that who are these? These are aggressors. And we need to fight and we need to kill them. But because they are also my relatives, It is my Kula Dharma to protect them and to be loving towards them. So here he's taking a high moral ground. He's comparing their mentality to his own mentality. That they don't see the sin in destroying their own relatives and dynasty, but we see the sin. I'm seeing the sin. So he's showing that he has high moral values, higher than the Kauravas. And they don't see the sin, right? If I'm seeing the sin, that there will be sin by destroying my own family, then for me, the reaction will be graver, right? The reactions that are given to me are, see, if somebody does a crime ignorantly, then his punishment is lower than the person who is purposely doing, knowing that this is wrong, right? We all know this. This is fundamental. So this is what he's saying. I know that this is Papa. They don't know because they're blinded by greed, but we are not blinded by greed. So I know that there is sin, and because I know, then the reaction will be graver for me. It will be more serious for me. So now he's going to think of not just this generation for himself and for them, that they are also going to be doing sin. That's why they'll be also getting reactions. They'll be going to hellish planets also. But he's now going to, further next verses, he's going to think of the next generations also and previous generations also. So how deeply he's thinking of the result of this warfare, that it is going to result in destruction and hellish life, not just for us, for previous generations and for the ones coming. And we'll look at that. But he's looking at near future. So first two reasons that he gave, who can tell us? First two reasons that Arjun has already given. This is the third one. What were the first two? Okay, first reason Arjun gave, I don't want to fight because
It's a sin and a misfortune.
I'm sorry,
The first one is like a misfortune,
misfortune.
and it will cause a sinful reaction.
That is the third one. We're talking about sin in this one, right? So this is the third reason. First reason was
It was enjoyment. Like, how can we enjoy after our family and kin have died? How will I be able to enjoy? Bhog, how
that
will
is the second reason.
First is compassion.
Compassion.
Yeah.
Compassion for my relatives. How can I kill them? And all the bodily symptoms. Remember, he had the body, he was trembling, his mouth was burning, and whole body burning, right? So, now, first was compassion, then was enjoyment. How can I kill them? And second, how will I enjoy? He's seeing the near future. Now he's seeing the distant future. If I kill them, we all will be going to hell. That is a little distant future. And then more further distant future will be the next generations. So Arjun's thoughts are fourfold. First two, compassion and enjoyment, near future, and then distant future, next to, which is sin, and then the further next generation or society will become degraded, and then the next future generations will be disrupted or they'll become degraded. So Arjun sees, due to greed, the opposite party is ready to fight and kill each other. Arjun understands that result of war will be destruction of family. He sees no benefit participating in these sinful activities. Arjun sees the other party is blind to the effect of this challenge. Him knowing the evil consequences, he does not want to fight. So these are basics. I'll again and again request you to remember these basics. 4 reasons he will give in this chapter. First one, compassion. Second, enjoyment. Third one, sin. And fourth one, society will become degraded. It'll come. So Arjun sees destruction of family, and that is coming now. Argument 4, destruction of family traditions, 39 to 43rd verse. So we'll recite the verse number 39. Kulashaya pranashyanti kula dharma sanatana dharme nashte kulam kritsnam adharmo abhibhaviti. Somebody can read the translation. It's right here on the screen.
With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion.
So that's the verse. Kula Shaya Pranashyanti. When dynasty, when the Kula is Pranashyanti, it is destroyed. Kula Dharma Sanatana. Along with that, what happens? Kula Dharma is also destroyed. And this Kula Dharma, which is Sanatan, which is eternal. We'll look at this controversy over here. Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam. When Kula Dharma is destroyed, then what happens? Which is according to the scriptures, then what happens? Then adharmo abhi bhaviti uta. Then what rises? Adharma rises. Whenever there is a decline of irreligion, there is a rise of, decline of religion, there is a rise of irreligion. So with the Kula being destroyed, Kula Dharma is also going to be destroyed, and that will give rise to Adharma. So now he's saying Kula Dharma is Sanatana. Now Kula Dharma is never Sanatana because Kula Dharma is within this material world, which is the Dharma or the duty of a dynasty, right? It is there for a long, long time. For generations, people have to follow their Kula Dharma, but it is not eternal. Which Dharma is eternal? Can somebody answer?
Sanatana.
Sanatan Dharma, or it is called Paradharma. There are, in our Vedic culture, there are two kinds of dharmas. One is Paradharma and one is Aparadharma. So Paradharma is that which is supreme dharma, which is Bhagavad Dharma. And Aparadharma is that which is subordinate. It is also important because we are here in this material world, in this particular body. What is my duty towards my family and my relatives and my, well-wishers? My duty towards them, it is apara because it is not eternal. Also, it changes. Once we are students, then my dharma is to do best in my studies, to perform to my utmost capacity, not be lazy. Then when I change, then that changes, position changes to being no more a student, I'm now an employee or a business person. Then my dharma changes towards the society, towards my family, if I have a family, towards my parents. Now, if I have a wife or a husband, then my dharma changes also, right? There is addition of being responsible towards them, to be faithful towards them. So all these to be chaste towards them. So all these are aparadharma because it is subordinate to the supreme dharma, which is paradharma, which is loving devotional service towards God. That never changes. With our changing positions in this world, our aparadharma might change, but our paradharma never ever changes. Not in this life, not ever in any other lifetimes. It remains the same because soul is also Sanatan. It is eternal. So here we see Arjun is overcome by illusion. He's thinking that Kula Dharma is Sanatan, right? So let's see what happens when Adharma becomes prominent. He's going to talk about that. So here he's spoken about how Kula Shaya, the destruction of dynasty, will lead to family traditions being vanquished, which is Kula Dharma. So with Kula Shaya is Kula's destruction or dynasty's destruction. What will be destroyed? Kula Dharma will be destroyed, or family traditions will be destroyed, and then the family will be involved in irreligion. Adharmo abhi bhavati. So we'll understand. See, in the Varnashram system, elders of the family, they explain and they perform these duties, and seeing that the children further perform the duties. So They are responsible for purifying process from the birth till death. And we'll see, Prabhupada tells us these purificatory processes. The death of elder will stop these purification processes because the children don't know, right, how to perform them. So when there is death of the elders, here Arjuna is thinking all these people will be killed. Then the next generation will not learn and they will not know how to perform dharma, how to perform these traditions. Young members will become irreligious, and dharma will prevail, with which they will lose the chance for spiritual salvation. So these are 16 kind of samskaras, just for your information. We don't have to memorize or learn them. And one of them is Garbhadan samskara, which is done before conception of a child. So this particular samskara is when the couple comes together, husband and wife, they come together in a union to procreate. But if they have the mood of just being passionate, then what happens? That kind of soul is attracted at the time of conception. A kind of soul which will be further always be passionate. And if they're in the mode of ignorance, then the souls attracted are in this mode of ignorance also. They'll be degraded. It'll be difficult to maintain religion in the family with such kind of souls. It is a very famous poet in Europe. He said, most people are born over a bottle of whiskey on a Saturday night. So you can imagine what kind of consciousness they themselves have and what kind of consciousness of souls they're attracting in this world where there is degraded consciousness. So Garbhadhan, that's why these samskaras are there. These are called purificatory processes. Purification is done so that at the time of conception, this particular Garbhadhan samskar, that the couple, they come together in a prayerful mood. And they pray for a wonderful soul to come in this life, who's a pure soul, right? And who will do good for themselves and for the society at large. So here we see Arjuna is thinking about the future. If all these men are destroyed, these are Kshatriyas, then other men who are scrupulous in the societies, they don't know what is religion and what is, dharma and adharma. When they become prominent, then they will corrupt the women. And when the women are corrupted, then the progeny or the children that will come, as descendants, they will become irreligious. There will not be any, the Kula Dharma will be destroyed. So he sees destruction of family and society. Let's recite the verse 140. Adharma bhi bhavat Krishna pradyushanti kulastriya rishu dushtashu vashneya jayate varna shankara. Read the translation.
When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become corrupt. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vranti, comes unwanted progeny.
So Vrishni, Krishna is called Varshneya here because he is a descendant of the Vrishni dynasty. So adharma bhi bhavat Krishna. When there is no dharma, when there is adharma, O Krishna, then what happens? Pradyushanti kulastriya, the stri or the female or the women in the kula, in the dynasty, become pradyushanti, they become corrupted because they are exploited by the unscrupulous men. We just discussed that. Strishu dushtashu varshneya. With the becoming of them becoming corrupted or contaminated, what happens then? Jayate varna shankara. Then the progeny that is coming forth will become is unwanted. It's not that the children are unwanted in the sense that they are irreligious children. That's why they are called unwanted. So in Vedic culture, so a lot of Vedic culture here, because that is the perspective that Arjuna is speaking from. The Vedic culture says that bringing forth good progeny is a big responsibility in a dynasty. Good progeny and also being responsible that the family traditions are held, and also having a healthy family so that the progeny is also healthy. So these are responsibilities of a Kshatriya, of a Kula. This is what the Veda says. So if Kshatriyas are killed, then unscrupulous men will gain power, which will exploit the women, with which poor consciousness of the progeny will evolve, and with degraded mindsets. So let's keep going. This is what it is. Kulashaya is destruction of dynasty, pranashyati, kuladharma, family traditions stop, adharmo, abhi, bhavyati, irreligion increases, pradushanti kulastriya, women will become polluted, varna shankara, unwanted progeny by mixture of castes. So Naraka, what is the result of all of this? There'll be hellish life for those who destroy the family tradition. And then Patanti Pitaro, he's going to talk about that now. Forefathers will fall down deprived of pinda offering of food and water. That verse is coming. And then Utsa Deyante Jati Dharma, Kula Dharma, community projects and family welfare activities are destroyed. Those are coming. So Arjun sees failure of Varnashram system. 141. We'll recite the verse. Sankaro narakaye va kulatnanam jnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaruryasham lupta pindo ka kriyaha pindo daka kriyaha. Translation.
An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life, both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performance for offering them food and water are entirely stopped.
So Arjun says, Sankaro narakayeva. So with such children who are progenerated, when they grow up, they will be uncultured and they will lead a hellish life. Kula gnanam kulasya cha. This will lead to what? Gnanam, which is destruction of the dynasty. Patanti pitaro ye esham. So certainly what will happen? Patanti, fall down of who? The pitris or the ancestors. Lupta pindo the kakriya. Why? Because there will be interruption or there will be stoppage of what? The pindo daka kriya. Pinda kriya is done for the ancestors. So that will be stopped because the generation coming forth will not know what is the right thing to be done, right? They don't know these processes or these dharma of the kula. They don't understand. That's why all this will be stopped. And if the pindo daka kriya stop, then patanti pitaro, our ancestors will also fall. So he's thinking not just for themselves, for in the present, that I will go to hell and lead a hellish life, and all these people also because they're doing sin. Also, he's thinking of future generations that they'll become degraded. And because of that, what will happen? Even our ancestors will fall down. So it is, again, in the Vedic culture, if somebody does extraordinary good deeds, pious deeds, then they go to heavenly planets. But if somebody does average punya, average deeds which are pious, then what happens? They go to Pitraloka. They don't go to heavenly planets, they go to Pitraloka. So this is what happens. Average pious deeds mostly people are doing. So they are going to Pitraloka and there they stay for a long, long, long time. But staying there, their staying there also depends on their descendants doing punya and their descendants offering them food and water. Here, so here in this material world is where we can do punya and papa. Other places in the universe, we exhaust the reaction of the punya and papa. But here we can do our duties. We can do punya or papa here in this earth, on this earth. So our ancestors remaining there in the Pitraloka, which is a higher planet, their remaining there also depends on us doing punya in this life and us offering them water and food through this process, through this Pindodaka Kriya. When that is stopped, then they will fall down. And Arjun is very concerned about his ancestors also. He doesn't want them to fall down. So although all this is, he's thinking of the consequences of not just now, here, of previous generations also and coming generations also. So ultimately, a beautiful verse that Prabhupada is going to quote in this purport. We have a hand raised. Okay, yes, Kaya Mataji, kindly.
Yes, I'm
Turn on
sorry.
your video also so we can see
Okay.
you.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
No
I have a quick question about how you said here on Earth we can earn papa or punya,
Mhm.
and then like when we go to the other side, when we are either in Pitralok or Brahmalok, wherever we are, we exhaust this. Are we only exhausting punya, or could we also exhaust pap on the other side?
Yes, so when we are in the lower planetary where there is hellish planets, when a person goes to hell, then he's also exhausting his bad deeds, the sins that he's done in this life. When he gets a reaction and goes to hellish planets, then he exhausts them there and then he comes back on earth. That soul comes back on earth. So this is what happens. If a person does extraordinarily good deeds, pious deeds, the soul is, when the body leaves the soul leaves the body, then the soul gets another body, which is fit to be lived in the heavenly planets if he's done good deeds, extraordinarily good deeds. And there he exhausts the karma that he's done, good karma. Or if he's done bad, then he goes to hellish. The soul gets a body fit to be lived in hellish planets, and there he exhausts the karma, the bad karma. For example, you are here in this body and you're doing in this material life, you're taking an example. You have a job, right? You go there every day, you earn some money, and then you collect it. So that is collected, right? All your asset as in the form of money is collected. Now you want to spend it, you have some vacation hours or days, you want to go on a vacation, maybe to Hawaii or somewhere, and you want to spend that money there, the money that you collected. But you cannot live there forever in Hawaii. You have to come back. So once you're there, you have a budget. Okay, this much I have, I want to spend there. Once that's finished, you have to come back and then earn more. So like that, here in this earth, when we are here, we collect good reactions or bad reactions by doing punya or papa. And then when we leave this body, either we are given heavenly planets if we do extraordinarily good deeds, or if we do average, we go to Pitraloka, or if we do bad deeds, then we go to hellish planets. This is what happens. And then when you exhaust, we have to come back here on earth, whichever earth. There's so many universes. Krishna only decides where we're going, but there we will start doing our karma. If we get a human body, then we do our karma and then we collect the good assets or bad assets. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That helps.
Thank you. So Prabhupada gives a beautiful, look at what he says. Anyone who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, the giver of liberation, giving up all kinds of obligation and has taken the path of all path in all seriousness owes neither duties nor obligations to the demigods, sages, general living entities, family members, humankind, or forefathers. This is a very profound statement. The Vedas have levels of knowledge. And here Arjun, he's quoting from the Vedas, but the knowledge that he's quoting is intermediary. There are levels of knowledge in Vedas, the highest being this, that when we surrender to Krishna, then we are no more obligated by all these debts. Let's look at the verse. I don't think it's here, but it's there in your, if you open verse number 141. Beautiful verse. I don't know if I have a slide, but we'll come to it if there is one slide for it, but let's just look at from our Bhagavad Gita's 141, verse number 141 in the purport. So this verse is from the Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutapta nirnam pritrinam na kinkaro nayam runicha rajan sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. So anyone, this is what the translation is, anyone who's taken shelter of Mukunda, he's free from the debts to all these living entities. And these living entities are how many in number? There are 7. So let's look at them through the verse. Deva Rishi. So the Devas or the demigods or the Devatas, there is no debt towards them. Then there is, hold on. Yeah, so the Devas, Deva Rishi. So Devas and then Rishis. Rishis. Why are we indebted to the Devatas? Krishna will talk about that in the coming chapters. In the 4th chapter, he's going to talk about how there is a 3rd chapter. There's a cycle of sacrifice that we have to give back because these Devatas give to us. They give rain, they give Surya Dev, gives sun, right? Sunlight to us. There's rain, there is air. Vayu Devta gives Vayu to us to breathe. So all these Devatas are giving us. And when somebody gives to us, you automatically, there is the need to give back, right? There should be reciprocity. So all these 7 grades of living entities are giving to us. So Devas are giving to us through these necessities of life itself. So we have to give them back. Then so we are indebted to them. Then there's Rishis, the sages who are themselves following the scriptures, studying the scriptures, and further giving us the scriptures. So we are indebted to them, and we can pay the debt by studying the scriptures ourselves and being serious about our religious life also. Then there is duty towards, so Devarishi, Bhutapta. Bhuta is other living entities. And Apta is our own relatives. So other living entities, even the ones who are not humans, like you get up in the morning and you open the window, there are birds chirping, right? You automatically feel pleasant and you're happy. So they are giving this happiness to you, to us. So we are indebted to them also, other living entities. Then our own relatives who are loving and who are kind, who make us keep going every day, right, with their love. So to them we are indebted. And then Pitrinam. Pitrinam is our ancestors because of whom we've been given this life. And then Na Kinkaro. Kinkar means the servants who are helping us or serving us in this life. So all these debts we have to pay back. And if we don't pay back, then we become sinners. But the verse says, Sarvatmana ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. Anyone who takes shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda. Mukunda is the one who is Krishna himself, the giver of liberation. So he he is not indebted anymore. Giving up all the other obligations, he takes shelter of Mukunda, and he, with full seriousness, not that, okay, now I'm becoming a devotee, I'm not indebted to all of them. We have to be serious about our, the sincerity is shown by day after day after day, our determination and our seriousness in bhakti. That is our determination and our seriousness, and it is tested, right? So we are not indebted to all of these living entities if we take shelter of Mukunda. And he's the one who gives shelter to all these living entities. So if we take shelter of Krishna, who is giving shelter to all of them, then all of them automatically become satisfied. We don't have to separately satisfy them. We don't have to go and look at the Vedas, okay, this puja for this demigod and this havan for this particular, devata, or this rishi, we have to do this. No, if an example again comes from the scriptures only, if you water the root of the tree, then the whole tree is nourished. And root of the tree is Krishna himself. So this is the next verse which is coming. We'll look at that. But for till now, 39th verse, the superiors are killed, which is destruction of the dynasty, and then destruction of eternal family traditions will stop, the Vedic rituals will stop, and then irreligion predominates in the family. 40th verse, women will become polluted, and then there'll be unwanted progeny. And then all kinds of community projects and welfare work will be stopped. Look at the next verse, 42nd verse. Dosherete kulagnanam varna shankara karakai utsadyante jati dharma kula dharma shashvataha. You can read the translation.
By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to the unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated.
So, doshe ete kula jnanam. So, because of such faults of these destroyers of family, all these faults we've just understood, because of that, what will happen? Varna Shankara Karakai. They give birth to unwanted progeny, unwanted children. And unwanted not because the want of being there, them is not there, because they are irreligious. They are with these souls are with consciousness which is very low and which is degraded. Jati is destroyed. Utsadyante jati dharma. The jati is subcaste. Varna is caste and jati is subcaste. So jati dharma will be destroyed. And also kula dharma shashvata. Again, he's saying kula dharma Kula dharma also will be destroyed, and that kula dharma which is shashvata. Again, shashvata is eternal. Kula dharma is not eternal. It is paradharma, which is eternal, which is loving devotional service to Krishna. So Arjuna is saying that all this will be destroyed, then kula dharma, and then the further generations. So many generations will be disturbed or destroyed. Their consciousness will be destroyed due to all of this. So he's thinking of a much distant future. So it's like a chain reaction, right? He's saying, I will be the one who will be the cause of future generations' degradation. It's like somebody wants to set fire in one house where there is an enemy living in that house. But he sets fire, not even the person in that house dies, but the houses next to that house also catch fire and all of them are dying or have died. Then that person who's set fire in that one house is not just responsible for killing that one person, but all of those other people. So it's like a chain reaction, and that person is held responsible. Then 143, those whose family traditions are destroyed, they dwell in hell. Let's recite the verse 143. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narake niyatam vaso bhavatiti anushruma. Somebody read the translation. It's right here.
O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell.
So Utsanna kula dharmanam. When kula dharma is destroyed, manushyanam janardana. O Janardana. Again, he is repeating the word janardana. For people, then what manushyanam is, manushya is people. For people, when the kula dharma is destroyed, O Janardana, then what happens? Narake niyatam vaso. Narake is hell and niyatam is forever. One has to, vaso is to live. So one has to live in hell forever. Bhavatiti anushruma. I have heard this from authorities. So Arjun is not now, he's not now, and from previous verses also, he's not giving his own point of view. He's always been quoting the scriptures from the Vedas, and he's also now saying, I've heard from the authorities. So he's quoting the authorities. It is not his own perception. So although we've talked about this before, although his knowledge is correct from the scriptures, but it is not the highest knowledge. It is intermediary knowledge. It is from the Vedas, so it is correct, but it is not complete and it is not the highest knowledge. Also, in the Vedic culture, it is said that there's no niyata in naraka, there's no living in hell forever. Like we said, we exhaust our karma, even if it is bad, then we come back on earth. So niyatam here is not literal. It means that for a long time, one has to suffer in hellish planets. And then next verse, 144, Arjun thinking like this, driven by desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are ready to kill even our own people. So 2 more verses after this and we'll finish this chapter. Let's keep going. 1.44. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasthita vayam yadraja sukhalobhena hantum swajanam udyataha. Alas, how strange it is that we are preparing to commit greatly sinful acts. Driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness, we are intent on killing our own kinsmen. So, aho bata mahat papam. So, mahat papam, how? Aho is alas, or oh, like it's exclamation, being so sad. Aho bata. So, alas, how sad it is that we are ready to do this papa kartum, we are ready to do this papa. Vivastita vayam, we have resolved, we've decided to do this. Yat Rajya Sukhalobena. Why? Because we are desiring or we're greedy for the Rajya Sukha, for the happiness of this kingdom. Now, earlier he said that they are greedy. Now he's saying we are greedy. We are ready to fight. Hantum Swajanam Udyataha. We have decided to kill our own relatives. So again and again and again, we see how Arjun is using the word Swajanam. These are my own people, my own relatives. Once he had said in the beginning, when he told Krishna, please bring my chariot in the middle of the battlefield, I want to see who all have come to fight. That time he said, Dhritarashtrasya Durbuddher, if you remember, who have come to please the evil-minded Duryodhan, who's son of Dhritarashtra. So that time he said Dhritarashtrasya. Now he's saying again and again, Swajanam. These are my own people, my own relatives. His frame of thinking has changed because of attachment, illusion, right? The material conception. And he will say, I don't want to fight. Arjun decides it is better to die unarmed in the battlefield. 145th verse, he says, Yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayaha dhatrashtrasya rane hanyus tanme shema taram bhavet. You can read the translation.
Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unarmed and unresisting on the battlefield.
So look at a Kshatriya's condition. He's saying, even if I'm killed, that's fine. I don't want to kill them. Let's see what he says. Yadi mam apratikaram. If I myself don't do any pratikar, pratikar is react. I don't react. If I don't react, shastram, without any weapons, and shastra panaya, and them, they have weapons. So they are the wielder of weapons, shastra panaya. They have weapons, but I am a shastram, that I give up my weapons. Dhatrashtriya tra rane hanyus. Dhatrashtra, meaning Dhritarashtra's sons, they in the rana, in the battlefield, they kill me. Hanyus is they kill me. So even if I am without my weapons and they have weapons and they kill me on this battlefield, tanme shema taram bhavet. I think this is better for me. This is better for me. So Arjun is fearful of sinful reactions. He thinks it's better to die in the battlefield unarmed. Arjun is overwhelmed with grief. He casts aside. We'll see this in the next verse. So he's driven by he's thinking that killing relatives is the desire for greed and driven by the desire to enjoy happiness. We're ready to kill them. And him being soft-hearted, he is ready to be killed and not to get killed. So let's do the last verse also. Now the scene shifts from Arjun expressing his emotions to Sanjay relating what is happening on the battlefield again. So there is action over here versus there were emotions and there was speech or talk given by Arjun till the previous verse. So here Sanjay Uvacha. See what Sanjay says. Sanjay Uvacha evam uparjuna sankhe rathopasta upavishat visrijya sharam chapam shoka sambigna manasaha. Read the translation, please.
Sanjaya said, Arjuna, having thus spoken on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief.
Okay, so Sanjay said, spoken thus. Arjun, chastised of enemies, told Krishna, Govinda, I shall not fight, and he fell silent. So, evam uparjuna sankhe. So, having thus spoken, saying like this on the battlefield, Ratho pasta upavishat. Arjun sat down on the ratha. Ratho pasta upavishat is to sit down. So, on the rath or on the chariot, Arjun sat down. Visrijya sa sharam chapam. He kept down his bow. Earlier, he said that my bow Gandiva is slipping from my hands. Now he just kept it down. Shoka sambigna manasa. And he is filled with gloom or he's filled with sadness. Shoka. So Bhagavad Gita is historical event. It really happened, but it also has principles that we can imply in our life. It has deeper significance or values from which we can learn. So Arjuna's keeping down his Gandiva bow represents his losing his heart or his losing his determination or will to fight. In the beginning, he has his Gandiva bow upright, ready to fight. So he had the will, he had the determination, and he was full of eagerness to fight with Adharma. Now, what happened? Him keeping down the bow denotes his losing that will, that determination. For us also, There are so many circumstances that we face in our life that we lose the will to fight. The battles of everyday life, the challenges. Somebody says something, there is health issue, there is financial issue, there's relationship problems, right? We are in a loving relationship, but there's something that happens within that relationships that closeness is no longer there. That sweetness is no longer, that pleasantness is no longer there. And we feel that determination to go on in this world, in this life, goes down, right? We have other duties, like if we are students, and we have those issues, then that consciousness goes down, right? Our emotions are such that we cannot do our best in our studies at that time. So when we face challenges in life, reading Bhagavad Gita helps us tremendously. Like over here, Arjun lost his will to fight and he kept his Gandiva bow down, right? Seeing the situation, Pashyanti, he himself sees, and due to Pratyaksha Praman, he loses the will to fight. But after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, in the end, what happens? The last verse of the Bhagavad Gita, 18.78. Somebody remembers that verse?
Yes, Bhagavad, I remember that verse. It's Sanjay Vacha, Yat Yogeshwara Krishna, Yat Partho Dhanadhara, Tat Vijayo Bhuta, Dhruva Niti Matar Mamaha.
Wonderful. So it is Shabda, hearing the Shabda, hearing Krishna's words, that Arjuna's will and determination came back. Dhanurdhara means, Partho Dhanurdhara means that one who's the wielder of weapons, of Dhanur, right? Of his Gandiva bow. He's picked it up again. Over here, this verse, we see he's put down his bow. The last verse, we see he picked up his bow. Dhanurdhara, he picked up his bow again. That means after hearing the Bhagavad Gita, his determination, his hope, and his will to fight came back. So although his skill was, he still had his skills to fight, but he lost his will. For us also, hearing the words of Krishna, we understand, we absorb the meaning. Every day we think about the meaning in the Bhagavad Gita. Now, even if it's not every day, we try to assimilate the knowledge and we bring it to practice. When we do that, then our will and our determination to go on in this world, and more importantly, to serve Krishna, always remains determined. We always remain determined to serve Krishna, to do our paradharma, always. To live a life where we are serving the Supreme Radha Krishna in this life. And later on also, if we look at our future, near or distant, we're always with Sri Radha and Krishna, serving them through our Guru Janas. That completes our first chapter. We'll look at a little summary here. We see on the screen, Arjun's bow represents his will to fight. His putting it aside represents his losing. For us, these challenges come every day. And here we see the last verse is Dhanurdhara, the carrier of the bow. And for us, reading the Bhagavad Gita and understanding the message, it is universal relevance. The hope that things might be difficult now, but will surely improve in the future. Confidence, that ability and capacity to do the right thing. And determination, our willingness to persevere and make things happen, that is restored. So this is what we just did. Arjuna is so intelligent that he's looking into all levels of details, but the problem is all in arguments are below that the dharma of the soul, which is above all other arguments. Krishna will explain that in forthcoming chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. He's going to explain how you're thinking about Kula Dharma, but above that there is Paradharma. So he's going to change his consciousness. In the end of Bhagavad Gita, all the soldiers are same, Arjuna is same, Krishna is same, right? His skills are the same. It's not that Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita and he gave him greater skills to fight in the battle. No, what changed was Arjuna's consciousness. For us also, in our life, when we study the Bhagavad Gita, what changes is our consciousness. There is purification in our heart. There is elevation of consciousness. So these are saintly qualities of Arjuna. He's soft-hearted. He doesn't want to kill. Even in exchange of 3 words, ready to forgive any aggressors. He considers evil consequences, even at the risk of refusing obligation to fight. If somebody is unmuted, kindly mute yourself. Conscious of obligations to protect family traditions and morals. He's ready to be killed unarmed, but not retaliate. Custom, according to Kshatriya fighting principles, unarmed and unwilling. So there are these Kshatriya codes. When we see that soldiers have come together to fight, there are codes. And basically, first 3 are that one should fight amongst equals. Equals meaning if a soldier is on a chariot, a warrior is on a chariot, he should not fight with a foot soldier. He should fight with his equal. So chariot warrior will fight a chariot warrior. Foot soldier will fight a foot soldier. Like that. The fight is always amongst equals. Or if you're on an elephant, then you fight with a warrior who's on an elephant. That's the first code. Second code is that both should be equipped with weapons. If one does not have weapon, then the other should not fight to kill. And third is, there's one more code. They both should be alert. It's not that one is not alert. If one is not alert, the other should not fight and kill him. So these are the codes. Now he knows the codes. Arjun knows all these codes, but he's saying, even if I don't have weapons, even if I'm unarmed, I'm ready to get killed by them. So he kept his bow down, even broke his vow of not keeping the bow once lifted. He had taken a vow that once I pick up my bow, I will not keep it down. And if somebody tells me to keep it down, I will kill that person. And that pastime happened when Yudhishthir Maharaj once said to him, it seems like you are cowardly, just keep down your bow. You're not capable of having this Gandiva bow. And then he said to Krishna, I have to kill Yudhishthir now, because he said to me that you have to keep down your bow. Now I have to kill him. That's a beautiful pastime that happened. So we won't go into that detail right now. But over here, he had taken the vow, but he himself kept it down. The conclusion is, such a kind and soft-hearted person is fit to receive self-knowledge or transcendental knowledge. We see for us also to be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita, right? So many people hear it, but to have a transformation of heart going through the Bhagavad Gita, we have to have these qualities, these saintly qualities like Arjuna has, a soft heart, a thoughtfulness for not just ourselves, for others also, for the future generations, right? Also, the willingness to be compassionate, right? To see the sin of what we do in what we do. If we do something, there'll be a reaction, to be thoughtful about that. So all these qualities of Arjuna are teaching us also that we have to have these qualities in order to understand and absorb the principles of Bhagavad Gita and bring them to life in our own, living day to day in our own lives. So we'll stop with that. Again, these are 5 reasons not to fight from 28th to 30th verse, compassion, 31st to 35th verse, enjoyment, 36th to 38th, fear of sinful reactions, 39 to 43, destruction of family tradition. In the 2nd chapter, the 5th reason will come, indecision or confusion. Should I fight or should I not fight? The same thing we just did. And Gita is neither a book of violence or silence. It gives a call for rising to transcendence. And this is the end of chapter 1. We'll look at this small video right now. It's a beautiful preview of this movie called Arjun the Warrior Prince. If you haven't watched it, it's a nice movie to watch.